Okay. I'm hoping that some people will see this. I'm going to give it a couple of seconds because what I have to say is probably going to upset a few people. And I don't necessarily want that, but so be it if that's the way it has to be. Um, there's a lot of things going on in our world today, right? Uh, a lot of things a bunch of us are upset about. Um, and it's so easy right now for us to overreact, if you will. And so excuse me as I'm leading into this. I'm trying to share this around. it's um it's so easy for us to overreact, and it's so easy for us to make rash decisions, and we're all guilty of it, right? We're all 100% without a doubt, absolutely 100% guilty of overreacting on on any number of issues, and that doesn't make it okay, but we should be able to relate. And so, what I'm going to share today is kind of an admonition to all of us, myself included, but in particular to those people who um, have a tendency to want to blow off the idea that it's possible to overreact when you're angry about things that are happening to you that are wrong. And it absolutely 100% fundamentally is possible for us to overreact. I'm going to read something for you. This is from the book of Proverbs. And it's not 100% applicable to the full context of what I'm have in mind right now, but I need to read this. So this is from Proverbs 26, and I'm going to read several different verses. Like starting in verse 7, like useless legs to one who cannot walk, so is a proverb in the full mouth of fools. Like one who binds a stone in a sling, so is one who gives honor to a fool. Like a thorn that sticks in the hand of a heavy drinker, so is a proverb in the mouth of fools. Like an archer who wounds everyone, so is the one who hires a fool, or hires those who pass by. Like a dog that returns to its vomit, so is a fool who repeats his foolishness. Do you see a person wise in his own eyes? There is more hope for a fool than for him. Like one who takes a dog by the ears, so is the one who passes by and meddles with strife not belonging to him. Like a maniac who shoots flaming arrows and death, so is a person who deceives his neighbor and says, "Was I not joking?" Okay. There are many of us today that would be guilty of a lot of what I just read. But let's think about this passage right here about the arrows, okay? where did we go? Lost it, guys, so bear with me. I was not prepared for this today. Like an archer who wounds everyone, so is the one who hires a fool or hires those who pass by. And then, like a maniac who shoots flaming arrows and death. Look, there's a lot of you out there today who are angry, and rightly so. There's just a ton of really angry people out there right now. And a lot of it has to do with great matters of injustice that are happening to them and to others. Trust me, I understand unfair treatment. I understand injustice from a very deeply personal level. And on a side note, pray for me because tomorrow I have a very important situation that I have to address. But We have got to stop responding in our emotions when something happens. We have to take a step back. We have to put down our bows. We have to put down our arrows. We have to put down our fiery brands. And we have to stop just shooting arrows all over the place. Because the problem is that we get so worked up, we get so fired up about something that we don't take any time to think strategically. We don't take any time to think about what are the ramifications if I do X? What are the ramifications if I do Y? All right? We don't think about it. And we don't care who else we hurt. And that's what those passages are really saying. You don't care who you hurt. If you rush out and you make a rash decision and you decide you're going to do X, Y, and Z, and you're going to stir people up and you're going to point out every person who's done you wrong in your eyes, like sometimes you're wounding allies. It's the old adage of saving a drowning man. Inexperienced swimmers will often drown the person sent out to save them. Because the person that's sent out to save them doesn't have enough experience on their own to save them, can barely swim on their own, and then the person they're trying to rescue drags them down into the depths of the seaweed in the water of the lake with them. And it's dangerous. It's a dangerous, dangerous, dangerous proposition when we start to just fire off volleys of arrows and we're not considering how we're firing those arrows, and we're not considering what we're doing to be cautious and who and what our targets are. Look, there are people out there that deserve to be targeted for their reckless use of power, their reckless abandonment in how they run roughshod over the people that they are supposed to be protecting and watching out for. Those people deserve all of the flack they can get. And we should be angry. But our anger, and I hate to use the terminology that so many wannabe Christians use, I was righteously indignant. No, you're not. You're just angry and you want to justify it. And there are times where you can be righteously indignant. But letting your emotions rule over you is not Christ-like for those of you that are Christian. See, the reason that Jesus was powerful, outside of the fact that he was deity, that he is deity, that he is the second person of the Trinity, the reason that Jesus was powerful, besides the fact that he is the God-man, God the Son, was because in the flesh, he had emotions. And those emotions were part and parcel of who he was as God, or who he is as God. God is not an emotionless being. The difference between God and us is that God has perfect control over his emotions at all time. All time. So even in his wrath, God is just. Even in his wrath, God is holy. Even in his wrath, God is loving. Even in his wrath, he is merciful and he is gracious. And in his sorrow, he can be justly righteous. In his sorrow, he can have a proper approach to wrath. And we have to struggle for that. We're to be molded and shaped into the image of Christ. And so all of these things that happen to us, Romans 8:28, for all things happen to the good of those who are the called and love God according to his purposes. And Paul goes on to write and say that all of these things work to mold us and shape us into the image of Christ. So all these bad things that are happening to us, as angry as they may make us, do not give us cause to respond in unmitigated anger, without any reasoning, without any intellect, without any bringing to bear on our emotions Christian thought, Christian intellect, Christian philosophy. And when you decide that you're going to do things in a fit of rage or a fit of anger or a fit of emotion, and there again, we all make mistakes. Sometimes we we do it sinfully. Sometimes we do it mistakenly. But when we do those things and we don't think through them, we are like the guy who just runs around shooting arrows, volley after volley of arrow in the air, not caring who he hits. We're the guy who runs around throwing fiery brands, not caring if he's hitting his friends' homes, his barns, his friends' livestock, or his friends' hayfield. We don't care what we're burning down when we respond in our anger, and it's got to stop. For those of you who are on the constitutionalist patriotic side, you have got to stop responding in your emotions. Bring your emotions into check with intellect and reasoning. Stop making rash decisions in the spur of the moment because you think you've had enough. That's what's going to destroy this movement. It is. It's going to destroy this movement. So if you're one of those people out there right now who's planning and working towards doing something in rashness, stop. Stop. You're going to drag us all down with you. And that's what the leftists want. They want to be able to say, oh, look, they're all a bunch of crackpot emotional idiots who don't know how to operate reasonably and intellectually. You fit right into the basket of deplorables that they want to describe you as, if that's how you respond. And we have to all admit where we've been guilty of it, and we have to all admit where we need to stand down. And then we need to execute that. Take counsel, heed counsel before you make any decision. Fight strategically. Fight tactically. But do not fight in your emotions, because when you allow your emotions to rule and reign over you, you are going to burn down your allies. You're going to fill your allies full of arrows, and you're going to end up weakening your cause. So I'm pleading with you, if you're one of those who operates in emotion, you must stop. Stop and think. Until next time, Sic Semper Tyrannis.